Hello and good morning. So today what I am going to be discussing is postpartum core health. So we're going to talk a little bit about diastasis recti and about strengthening the pelvic floor after experiencing pregnancy. Now this is really important, mamas, okay? So many women are their primary goal after having children is to get into pre-baby shape. And so as soon as their baby is born and they're cleared by their physician, they go right back to running and burpees and high intensity, trying to get it back, right? And they don't focus on the pelvic floor. Now, when that happens, there is a significant chance that you will have problems with incontinence. And so I know mothers who kids are in college and they're still peeing themselves when they laugh or sneeze or jump. Now, because this is so common in our society, it's been normalized. However, it doesn't have to be that way, okay? The only thing is to strengthen the pelvic floor and to repair any kind of diastasis recti. It's a very slow, very small, very focused exercises that seem kind of boring. They're not as exciting and dramatic as a burpee. And so a lot of people don't have the patience to do it. So I'm going to beg you and urge you, please, after pregnancy, do the work. If you can do it by yourself, great. If you need help with a physical therapist or a trainer, please get the people who are qualified and have experience in postpartum pelvic floor health, okay? In fact, probably significant amount of personal trainers have zero experience in this, okay? Even women who've had children. So get the people who really know how to help you with this. It is so critically important. I had physical therapist after Harper, and I had a physical therapist after Quentin. I'm still working with my physical therapist, actually, but with COVID, I've not seen her in months. But let me pass on to you what I have learned. I'm an exercise physiologist. I'm a personal trainer. I didn't learn anything about pelvic floor and postpartum health in that area at all in almost 20 years in the industry. No one taught me anything about that. Not until after I had children and I started working with some postpartum physical therapists did I really start to learn about this. So let me pass this on to you. Let's talk about diastasis recti in case you don't know what that is. Diastasis recti is when there's a separation of the abdominal muscles in the center. Now, most people who experience full-term pregnancy will have some sort of separation of the muscles. Now, after Finn, that was my first child, in great shape, I had a very minimal diastasis recti and it fixed itself. After Harper, it was a little bit more. After Quentin, my diastasis recti was 3 fingers wide. Okay, so the separation in my muscles, I could dig 3 fingers in there. Now, that is not a good, stable core, okay? My abs aren't protecting my internal organs the way they should. And so I made it my focus to really work on that diastasis recti. So we're going to talk about a few things today for diastasis recti, then we're going to get to pelvic floor. So how do you test for diastasis recti? Now, when I'm working with postpartum moms, I will have them just lay on the floor and just lift up a tiny bit. And then what I will do is I will very gently stick my fingers in between the abdominal area, right in the center, where if you think about a 6-pack ab, there's that line down the middle. That's the line we're looking for. So I'll crunch up. Now mine now is almost all the way closed, okay? But again, when Quentin was born, Quentin just turned 3, it was 3 fingers wide. I could get that much space was separating the muscles in my abs, okay? So first thing I would do, and when I was starting my rehab for diastasis recti, is recognize and test and see how wide it is. So I know if I'm getting progress, okay? So I know if I'm healing. And I would take my rib cage, I would put my hands on my rib cage, I would take a deep breath, and when you exhale, try and close the rib cage together with your fingers. And I would lace my fingers so my hands are helping my rib cage and those muscles close up. Then I inhale. And again, close. Try and close my rib cage. Try and close those muscles. Use the heels of my hands and use my fingers to interlace against. Now I interlace my fingers to create that visual image that I'm trying to interlace the muscles back together. So I'm creating psychological and physical change here. Inhale. Exhale. Try and close it and lace those fingers together, closing those muscles together. One more. And exhale. Close the muscles together. Close like you're zipping your rib cage together. So this is one of the exercises I do for closing that separation in the ab muscle for diastasis recti. Another exercise I'm going to do, I'm using a slastics band. You can use a band, a belt, a towel. I'm going to place it right under my rib cage here, okay? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to crisscross it over my body, okay? So it's crisscrossed. You see that? I'm going to deep breath in. I want to exhale. I'm going to tighten that band around my rib cage, and then my abs are going to tighten with the band. Inhale, release. Exhale. The band is pulling, teaching my body to close over that gap in the abs. Inhale. And exhale. Now this time when I inhale, I'm going to keep the band closed over my rib cage. So I'm going to inhale. And exhale. Pull a little bit tighter. One more. Band's going to pull tighter. And release. So what we're trying to do is train the body and the muscles to close back up over that diastasis recti. Okay, so that's one, those are two of the first exercises. If you've got that separation, and if you had a full-term pregnancy, there is a significant chance you do have small separation, if not more. So you're going to separate that, you're going to work on that separation, try and close it back up, okay? Then we're going to talk about pelvic floor, okay? This is where we're going to talk about girl stuff, okay? So, pelvic floor is basically the belly button and below, okay? So this is great for anyone, really, not just for those who have experienced pregnancy. There are teenage girls, teenage female athletes who have problems with the pelvic floor, and they have a hard time not peeing. So they will also pee when they sneeze or jump or laugh, and it's not a fun problem to have, right? Okay, let's work on some pelvic tilts. Now pelvic tilts, you are not going to squeeze your butt up, okay? It's not a booty bridge. This is a pelvic tilt. Your abs are going to tilt the pelvis up. So if your butt's working, you're doing it wrong, so turn your booty off. This one I want you to turn your booty off. And you're just going to tilt your pelvis and squeeze the muscles from the belly button and down. You're going to release. Pelvic tilt and release. Pelvic tilt and release. Now, if you cannot turn on the pelvic floor yet, if that diastasis recti is still open, I want you to avoid crunches, okay, and sit-ups. So if trainers do not have experience with postpartum, they won't know to avoid those things. Planks are good. Planks are a good exercise. Just start off very slow and easy. But if you have pelvic floor weakness, if you have a diastasis recti that is separated, I would like you to avoid crunches and sit-ups until they're healed. So just doing pelvic tilts here, not using the glutes, just using the lower abs. Squeeze and release. One more. Squeeze and release. Okay, so we've got the pelvic floor warmed up a little bit. Now we're going to talk about your lady bits, okay? I want you to imagine that you've got a tampon in, and for some ungodly reason, someone's trying to pull it out. I don't know why. I don't want to go there. But that is what I want you to visualize. And I want you to squeeze and grab a hold of that tampon like your life depends on it. And you are using the muscles in your vaginal walls, ladies. You're not using your booty. So if you're squeezing your booty to try and grab a hold of that tampon, you're using the wrong muscles. So relax the butt. It's a very small internal contraction here. And you're squeezing the muscles inside of you. Okay? So you're going to relax and release. And then again, you're going to go ahead and GYT. That's what I call it. GYT stands for grab your tampon, ladies. So you're going to squeeze that. You're not going to squeeze your butt. If you're squeezing your butt, you really need to focus on relaxing your booty cheeks. And relax and release. And then squeeze GYT, ladies. GYT. Contract the muscles that are inside of you. Squeeze them. And then release. Now at first, this might be a very, very tiny, tiny, tiny squeeze. At first, you might not feel anything. If you don't feel anything, that means you need it the most. Okay, you really need this. But if you continue to use this as a focus and use this as part of your exercise routine, you will learn to turn those muscles on. It just takes time, especially after pregnancy, because the weight of the baby, everything has been turned off down there. We just have to wake it back up, and it will happen. You just have to have patience. Let's do a few more. So go ahead and GYT. Don't squeeze your booty cheeks. And release. And let's do one more. GYT. And release. Now we're going to do some zipping up, okay? So what I'd like you to do is imagine you're zipping up from your lady bits all the way to your rib cage, okay? So we're going to say your urethra, that's your pee hole, okay? Anatomy lesson. We're pulling your urethra and we're zipping it up towards your heart, okay? And when I first learned this exercise, I couldn't get this to feel anything. I could not get that muscle to turn on at all. After 45 minutes of work with a physical therapist, I was finally able to feel it do something. So it took me 45 minutes of concentrated one-on-one work with a physical therapist before I got this to turn on. So if you're just trying this a few minutes a day, be patient with yourself, please. So we're going to think about zipping the urethra up towards your heart. You're going to zip it up, and you're going to release. And you're going to zip up towards the heart, and you're going to release. And again, if you do not feel this, please don't get frustrated. It will happen if you're patient and you keep working on it. And it is so critical. Ladies, this is critical for 3 reasons. 1, if you can get your pelvic floor stronger, you'll have your lower abs will be flatter and more conditioned. Number 2, you won't pee yourself when you sneeze, laugh, or jump or run. And number 3, way better orgasms. So we've got 3 really good reasons to pay attention and focus on these exercises. Let's do some more zip-ups. So we're going to zip the urethra up towards the heart. And we're going to release. Let's do 2 more. I'm going to zip the urethra up to the heart. Zip, 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 zip. And release. 1 more. We're going to zip, 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 zip. And release. And so as you get stronger at these exercises, what will happen is before you do any work that challenges the core, you will hug the rib cage in to close the diastasis recti. You will GYT and zip up to brace the core and get the pelvic floor turned on before you do any kind of core work. And so you have to really strengthen these areas before you ever start thinking about adding crunches or sit-ups. Because if you can't turn all that on to protect you, then you're open to injury when you do those exercises. And that's what we don't need, ladies. Injury is what we do not want, okay? You're trying to get in shape, you're trying to get stronger, you're trying to be active. Injury and rest because of these is not ideal. So we've got to learn to close the rib cage and close that DR, diastasis recti. We've got to learn to GYT and zip up so we can brace and turn on this area before movement. Okay? Does that make some good sense? You guys are amazing. Practice those. If you have any questions, just let me know. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.